Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Talented Learning Executive Briefing Series. This is my favorite series of content because we get to travel the world virtually and meet with the best and most innovative learning technology solutions that are out there. And today's no different. We're going to look at a really unique solution that helps support the concept of remote content. And it's a really big concept in extended enterprise and really a lot of different sectors of the learning systems market. And today we're here with Troy Gorostiza, who's the co-founder of Course Container and coming to us from California. Troy, take it away. Tell us all about it.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Once again, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and I look forward to giving you a little bit more insight and intel into what the heck Course Container is all about. So basically, my business partner and I came up with the idea for Course Container late in 2016, and it was founded in 2017. So both of us have been in the extended enterprise learning space for, 10 plus years, and the learning management space for 20 plus years. And one of the issues that we kept seeing come up now that the industry has matured more is with either content creators or very large clients is their content they would have in their own system, their own solution, and have the customer come to them. But they wanted to make their content available, not necessarily in a third-party marketplace, but make their content available in that third-party LMS and still retain their intellectual property and control. And that's really the precipice as to why we kind of created Course Container. So in the overview, I'll take you through what the solution is, and then we'll go through a small demo as well and actually show you how it works. So it's really an online content distribution and licensing platform. It's a secured, scalable delivery network. So essentially, your course content is never going to leave your control. There's instant automatic course updates for all your customers at once. So versioning is no longer an issue. You can update the content and the version as many times as you want within Course Container. And then your end customer, your end learner is going to automatically receive those content version updates. It's a big, big benefit of the platform. And then ultimately, you get visibility into real-time data usage. From the completion, the in progress, as to what domain the user is accessing this from, to what version they're on. We're really leveraging a lot of the SCORM standards and some of the browser-based technologies to get all the data that you typically would in a learning management system for all of your content so you can make insightful decisions. So here I'm going to go over a little schematic and hopefully tell you a little bit better about what Course Container is. So with most learning management systems, you're going to upload your AICC, your SCORM package, your XAPI package, whatever it may be when you're uploading content into your system. So with Course Container, what you're going to do as the content owner is you're going to upload that training content in the actual Course Container, and you can submit a PDF file, you can do a video, you can do a SCORM 1.2 or 2004, or even more recently, you can actually serve up the content from your LTI server as well. So you're going to go ahead and upload that content into Course Container, upload one or multiple content items. And then what you'll do is, let's say that John Lay at Talented Learning is my customer and I'm the content owner. So I've uploaded my 5 courses into Course Container. I'm now going to create a deployment and I'm going to make that available to Talented Learning. And I'm going to add the courses into that I want to make available for John. I can add in different licensing parameters as well. And I'll go ahead and add those. I'll download the SCORM files and I'll send them off to John. Essentially, they are remote packages. So all the content, everything is on the Course Container side of the fence. So you as the customer are never having your content leave your control. It is always within Course Container in your secure instance. The customer accesses it from their learning management system however they would. So you don't have to worry about doing user registration, setting up course structures, reporting, any of that whatsoever, because the course is also communicating to that learning management system and they're getting all the metrics they normally do on their students. Now, a couple of additional benefits here I mentioned earlier is the versioning. So if you have a course and it's been pushed out to, let's say, 5 of your customers representing 1,000 users, and you have a new version, you can go ahead and upload it into Course Container. None of those packages need to be sent out to each of your customers, and nothing else needs to be done. Any new registrations from any of those third-party LMS systems will automatically generate that new piece of content. Also, from a technical standpoint, If there are updates and standards and browser security and things like that, the packages essentially at the end of the day are essentially dumb. And so any updates, anything that needs to take place on our servers on Course Container, updates are made. And then there's no new uploads, there's no new workflow, there's no additional work for you as the licensee of Course Container or your customers. So some of the main platform features, I went over a couple of these earlier, but the actual content that we support, so you can upload SCORM 1.2 in 2004. LTI from your server will basically bring that content in, throw SCORM wrappers on it automatically, and communicate with the third-party learning management systems. PDF and video, you can upload those. You can set parameters around the video, like I don't want this to be marked as complete until the user views it all the way to the end. I want to disable fast forwarding. You do that when you upload the content. And then Course Container does its magic and creates a SCORM file and does what it needs to in the back end. On the licensing front, and I'll show you this in a moment. So when you set up a deployment, which remember contains the content that you want to make available to a customer, you can go ahead and say, I want this deployment for John Lay at Talented Learning to be good for, let's say, up to 1,000 users, or up to 1,000 users over 10,000 total courses if you're doing a library. And then you can also add in a date period. So if any of those thresholds are hit, the end user is going to go ahead and get a message letting them know that the content is no longer available. You as a licensee of Course Container can edit whatever you want that message to be. So you can enforce licensing, or you don't have to. Many of our customers don't, because they have real-time metrics into the system. They use that as leverage to go ahead and pick up the phone and have an intelligent discussion with their customer and say, hey, listen, you're getting close to the licensing agreement we set up. Let's go ahead and do you want to add some more to that? So you can do it any which way. Once again, the versioning. So it's one update for all your customers at once. You upload it on the back end, new content, 5-10 minutes, you're done. On the reporting side, you've got inline metrics around any piece of content, how many times it's been launched, by who. You've also got course detail, you've got financial reports, you've got course completion reports, in progress, and content enrollment dates, and I'll show you that in a moment as well. And ultimately, we are flexible. It is a SaaS solution, but we do custom integrations and APIs. Some of those are integrating with your LMS content server. So if you're a learning management system provider, you have a large content library, you want to automate that through our system, you can do that as well. Same thing with the content libraries. Purchasing systems, we can go ahead and tie grant them access to the content. We can do that through a purchasing integration as well. And once again, same thing with e-commerce. So finally, I think the key benefits of Course Container at the end of the day, as a content owner, as a large organization where you have training library and you want to increase usage, or you have customers that want the content in their systems, you want to maximize the income from the course content. To be honest with you, you can be up and running with Course Container in as little as a half an hour, from provisioning the environment to uploading your content to creating a deployment and passing it off to your customer. You sit back, you watch the metrics, you see the users access the content, and you realize new revenue. You get the complete real-time visibility into course usage. You manage those licensing terms rather than saying, hey, John, how many people have launched the courses we've talked about? How many times have they launched it? When did they launch it? There's not a negotiation. You know, you can pick up the phone and say, John, we had an agreement for 5,000 users the first 3 months. You're at 4,000 users a month in. You want to go ahead and extend that. We now give our customers the power to go ahead and manage their content licensing revenue. And once again, the updating courses automatically for all customers.
So tell me, who would, so I see a big need from this, from our consulting practice here at Talented Learning, that if you're a training company or a publisher and you're selling to a large corporation, that corporation already has their LMS, and increasingly so, they don't want to send their learners to over here for this content and over there for this content. They just want it all. They want it all centrally. And so I see a big need for that, just from my consulting clients. Is that who your customers are? Is it broader than that?
I would say that is a very large contingent of our customers. Is they already have their customers. Their customers just do not want to come to their systems anymore, as you alluded to. We've been in this game a long time with the LMS game, so you can build single sign-on, you can build integration solutions, but at the end of the day, they are familiar with their environment, right? And they just want the content in their systems. And if you can go ahead and pass it over, and you can, stop access to it at any time, and run metrics to determine usage, I mean, it's a win-win solution. The other folks that I think this is a very good solution for are content owners and creators. A lot of people with video that may be new into the HR training environment. They're great at content creation. They know nothing about SCORM and LMS systems and things like that. And so they can go ahead. In a lot of cases, we have customers that do large video libraries. They've got a lot of stuff on video on YouTube, and they'll bring those libraries into Course Container and then make that content available to their customer in that LMS. So it's very simple without no content conversion or authoring process.
Yeah, neat. I think another benefit for the downstream LMS that's having that is they can take the content from Course Container then and mix and match that in learning paths and plans, and use the power of their LMS to make it available or assign it with due dates. And all that's kind of impossible if you're sending your learners to a third-party system. So you get a lot of benefits of integrating other people's content into your daily workflow too.
Oh, that's a great idea. And the good thing is that a lot of that work is taken off your shoulders as a content owner now. You basically just pass it off to them, and they build those learning paths and curriculums and expiration dates and manage users. And at the end of the day, it's no longer a concern for you. So the cost of ownership is dramatically reduced compared to spinning up an LMS environment, building a solution in e-commerce and all of those things, by having a distribution licensing platform behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't have this, I guess the last point here, and I want to get a good look at this. I think the last point is, if you didn't have a remote content server like this, your options are, as we discussed, making those learners from these other organizations come to a third-party LMS, or you have to send out the whole packages of SCORM, which are big, heavy things, and then you lose everything. They're responsible for trying to get it to work in their system. They're responsible for the tracking, and as you alluded to, you're down to trying to get reports from a third party about the usage. But quite frankly, that's what a lot of organizations do right now, is if they're not aware of technology like this. So I can really see the application of this, Troy.
Yeah, no, and you actually did make me think of another point or two that I missed. But with these files, in many cases, these courses are becoming bigger and bigger with video, and the file size is very, very big. As we know, with a lot of learning management systems, the content server that serves up this content, we've actually run into this with a few customers, is that they actually were able to get a deal done with their customer because these file sizes are 2 kilobits versus 2 gigs. And they're not maxed out on the file size, as well as we're leveraging, it's an enterprise-wide content delivery network. So this content ends up on multiple servers throughout the US and throughout the world, so that it's going to go ahead and pull up closest to you. So you're getting the content in a secure environment from one server, versus me in San Diego getting that piece of content from a different server. So it's extremely scalable.
Interesting. And not how much, but how do you license it?
Yep. So we have 2 licensing models. Our standard one is on a monthly basis, and so we consider it a course activation. So if I have uploaded 5 pieces of content, and in the month of June, 5 people all launch 1 piece of content, that would be considered 1 course activation. If those 5 people launch that piece of content 100 times in that course, 100 times in that month, it's still just 5. But each new course that they would launch would count as a new one. So it's very similar to kind of like an active user model. Just think of the piece of content, anytime it's accessed by a new unique user, that counts as a click on a monthly basis. On the yearly basis, it's the same thing. The term is just over the year. So you basically would have a cost for course activation that person can launch as many times throughout that year for that same price.
Sweet. Okay. Great.
Yep. And our monthly pricing is public on our website. Anyone's available to go and take a look at that. And then the yearly pricing we typically send out to customers once we've been speaking with them a little bit and see if that works better for them.
And the website is, Troy?
It is coursecontainer.com.
Nice and easy. All right. Well, great overview. Let's take a look at a demonstration. Love to see this in action.
All right, let's go ahead into the back-end system. So once you've been signed up and been provisioned with an account, essentially get back end. You get access to the back end of Course Container. I'm going to actually impersonate someone just really quick here, just to show you some different metrics. All right. So once you've logged into the system, you're going to see your dashboards. You're going to see if there's any new unique users within the last 30 days. You're going to see how many total launches of any of the users across the last 30 days. Remember, this is people that are accessing the content in the third-party LMS. So John Lay at Talented Learning has made content available to his customers. So these are the metrics that you're seeing. You see total number of deployments, how many total users, and then any news and announcements that would come from our team. Here you're going to go ahead and see a metric of the pieces of content that actually were launched in those last 30 days. If I jump out and kind of show you a different customer here, you'll see that this can get, this pie chart can get quite a bit more convoluted and give you a better idea of the type of piece of content that your people are actually launching. I'll drive down to reports in a moment, but if I go ahead and jump back, because I'm going to show you real time how this data is being captured. Jump back real quick. Okay, so getting back to what I like to do is I'm going to flip back and forth to a couple of screens. So how Course Container works, the first thing you want to do is upload the training content into the actual Course Container system. So here you can come into training content, and here's a list of all the content pieces that you've ever uploaded, the type of content it is, the create date. If you modified that, you can get in right away to launch history analytics. So this is going to go ahead and pull up metrics. So this is a third-party user ID in the third-party LMS. The username that LMS is bringing over to our system. The LMS user ID, sorry, the user ID is our ID in the Course Container. Which organization you made this piece of content available for, the name of the content, the version number, when it was started, what domain it was launched from, what browser, and actually what deployment it's tied to. So there's a lot of data metrics here, and we've got a lot of different reports because a lot of customers use these for different areas. But this is kind of a quick and dirty way to take a look at launch history on any given piece of content very easily. I'm going to go ahead and click into one and just click edit. You can see here, so when you set up a piece of content, you have the name, you can have an internal course identifier and a SKU, the module type, so whether it is a SCORM piece of content, LTI, PDF, video, whatever it may be, and then the actual content versions. So if you were to want to update another piece of content, a version here, all you simply do is you upload that piece of content here, you have it in as a new version, then you would see a listing of all of your versions. At any time when you're uploading content, you can go ahead and click the preview just to ensure that that piece of content is working once you've uploaded it. Go ahead and close out of that. We also allow, so rather than through the interface, if you have a lot of courses or they're very large files, you can upload via the backend FTP. Course Container gives every administrator their own unique security credentials. So it keeps it very secure, as well as they rotate every 30 days, another way to make things secure. So you can either upload things into the back end, you see all your content, you go ahead and select it. What would happen is on our system, this is going to go ahead and then upload from our server to our content delivery network, propagate throughout those servers throughout the world. Once it's done, you'll be notified, you can preview it. So you upload your piece of content. That's the first thing you do. I'll click add content, but basically you're going to get the same fields that I explained to you earlier. One thing I do want to show here is, so it's for a video. I'll just go ahead and do this as a video file. You'll see here is once I've created a video file, now when I'm building out the record, I can go ahead and say, you know what, I want to disable fast forwarding. I want to mark this as complete. Let's say at the end, I can specify some additional parameters, but that's basically it. So this video is going to also now bookmark for that customer when it is launched in that third-party LMS, because we're marking completion at the end and we're disabling fast forward. So there's some additional little authoring utilities that are added in the system that make things very easy. So going back, so I've uploaded my one or multiple pieces of content. Then what I do is I go over to the deployment side, and here's an actual deployment. So I have this deployment here, the Click Safety course library. The organization is Get Safety Now, which is this organization. This is the customer that's licensing the content. I have, and these are all the pieces of content that are available to that customer that they can take. So if I was setting up a deployment for the first time, I'm going to do deployment name, put in the organization. These are the list of organizations. I can add a new organization anytime. Organization is very important because it's very easy to slice and dice your reporting and your deployments based on content name, deployment name, and or organization. Because you may have an organization, let's say Talented Learning, and you have 10 different deployments to them for 10 different groups of courses, and you've got different licensing terms. You can do that very easily from an organization standpoint, and then as you create your deployment. So if I go into the usage restriction, this is where I mentioned earlier, this is how you can turn these on or off. So for this deployment, or Get Safety Now, let's say that this is good for 1,000 unique users. And since I have a lot of pieces of content, this is a library, I'm going to give access, let's say, up to 50,000 total course launches across 1,000 users. And it could be good for, let's say, till the end of May. Any of these thresholds are met, the end user in the third-party system is going to get a note that you specify what you want it to say. Something to the effect of is the content is no longer available, contact your LMS administrator, whatever it may be. You can use a combination of any or of all of these. You can say, you know what, I don't care, just get through the end of May, or it's good for just 1,000 unique users. So you can do this as you set up your deployment, as well as anytime you can update licensing permissions. Go ahead and turn that back off. So if I wanted to add any content to my deployment, since I've added content first, this is how you do that. So if I'd say I want to add 100% fall protection, I'm going to click add, and now this piece of content is available in this deployment for this customer. So what you would do is you go ahead and you just download the package. And down that, let's say I'm just going to download it to my desktop. And then what you will see here is this is the course called 100% Fall Protection. And you'll see there's 2 files contained within it, an index and a manifest file to meet the SCORM requirements of the launching learning management system. Basically what it's going to do, it's going to launch in the LMS, it's going to redirect, pull everything over from course container, but in the LMS into the end user, it's seamless. They don't know that the content is actually coming from course container. The content has to be authenticated with the LMS. So even if end user gets what that URL is, where the content's coming from, they pass it off to their friend or someone else, they try to launch it, they can't. It's all done secure and authenticated from a launching learning management system. So there's no way to really steal that content as well without launching it through the LMS. So let's go in here. Let's go back real quick to, oops, I closed out the window. Sorry, 1 second. There we go. I'm going to actually delete this one. So very easy to also delete a piece of content from a deployment. But so these are all the different pieces of content that are available to Get Safety Now. So if I go to Get Safety Now, I'm going to go to Get Safety Now as an end learner. So I'm a customer that came in this use case. Get Safety Now sells training online. So they're going to log in as an end learner. They're going to come down and click on training, whatever may be available to them. So let's say I'm going to do electrical safety for construction. That course is expired. So let's go ahead back. Of course, I picked the best one here. Bloodborne pathogens for construction. So this is the end learner. They're going to go ahead and start taking training. So this is a third-party learning management system you have no control of whatsoever. All you've done is license your content to your organization. This is their end user. So they're starting to take that training. And you'll see here, there's reports across the board, but I'm going to jump down to the reports area. I'm going to click on user activity, and I'm going to go ahead and do just a very quick search. You'll see here that this is showing me in the last 30 days, all the reports show at 30-day level. You can adjust them however you want. Across all my organizations, summary report. So these are the different courses that have been taken in the last 30 days. If I want to go ahead and drill in, you'll see here very quickly, I can drill into details, and I can see that I know, because I'm the one that's taking this right now, this is the course that I just launched. But if I go down here further into reports, I can drill into, let's say, the access detail report. I'm going to just leave all the filters blank, and I'm going to see right here at 4:27, this is the time on the Pacific time zone. This was Troy launching the course in the third-party LMS. These are the metrics that I get. which is pretty cool. So I get the content type, the version, the start date, where it was launched from, the browser, the deployment name. I can also drill down into a content report. And here I'm going to go ahead and get the status. So if it's passing a score, it's going to go ahead and update. It's going to give me a status, whatever it may be. So there's a lot of different reports that you can actually drill down on. And that will give you the status of how many total launches, how many unique launches, what version, what course, where they're coming from. And then ultimately, to manage your business is you're going to want to go ahead and run typically, like what I'd like to say is, so let's go ahead and let's go to a different site here real quick. Let's go to, let's say, I don't know, let's go with these folks. So I'm going to run a report very quickly here. So this is an active client that has a fair amount of usage. I'm going to report, let's say that your billing terms are quarterly. So you true up, every quarter with an organization. I'm going to say it's for this organization and it's this deployment. And I'm going to go ahead and run a report. All the reports, by the way, within the system, all the filters, the top columns are filterable, as well as everything exports into Excel. So you'd see here that I can see I ran a report from January through March of this year, 2023, for a specific organization, for this deployment that we have a licensing agreement set up. It's going to show me all the content items, the version, how many unique user launches, how many total launches, and the month accessed. So one of the things I like to do is you can export to Excel, and I've done one very quickly here so that we can take a look at it. And you'll see here, so once again, so this one was ran from October through December of last year. Same thing, organization, deployment name, and essentially total. So they have 1,894 unique course accesses across that time period, representing 8,518 total launches. So depending on your licensing agreement with your customer, if it is unique users over a time frame, or if it's total course launches or a specific time frame, or what we also have was what's called is a content enrollment report, and that actually will show you anyone that launched a piece of content unique for the very first time over a given time period. So here would be the start date, the end date. I want to see anyone who launched that piece of content plus this organization just for the first time within that actual start date. So you've got a lot of data metrics that you can slice and dice. So that because a lot of the Course Container customers license content in different ways. And by these various reports, it gives them the metrics that they need to essentially run their business. So relatively straightforward. A lot of the magic is behind the scenes. We wanted to keep it very, very simple. You upload your content, you build your deployment, you specify licensing parameters or not, you pass the content off to the customer, they load it in the LMS, and you sit back and run reports and look at metrics. And that's basically it. Collect revenue on your training courses that you made available.
Excellent. Great solution. Great solution. Way to go after a need in the marketplace and just create something that can just snap right onto any LMS, any solution, any any extended enterprise, any training company, any association. They all have this exact same challenge each and every time, and just to be able to solve it like this and get the real-time reports like that, instant reports, as it were, is amazing. And just saved from an ROI standpoint. My gosh, anybody that's on the phone right now that is sending out SCORM packages, I mean, the ROI is just absolutely obvious. So, yeah, great job, Troy. Thanks for taking us around and showing us the solution.
No, definitely. And like I said, it's what we love to hear is with our customers is, unique benefits that they're realizing that, we didn't think of up front. And some of those actually is the content, where they have a customer that wants to license 100 courses and they don't have the file size, or they can't get the files, they're too big, or how do we deal with versioning and updates? And, with this, it's all of that's taken care of very easily for them. A lot of folks, had business models where they have had learning management systems and their clients end up being much bigger. And with so many learning management systems out there today, and so many, even small to medium-sized businesses having their own LMSs, it's changed the business model of a lot of of large organizations that have the training content that they now need to basically make that content available in their customer systems because they have these systems now. And so that's really where we try to solve that need for them with this licensing system.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hey, Troy, thanks for stopping by to the Talented Learning Executive Briefing and Demonstration Series. This is great. This is exactly why we have this series, and it's exactly why it's my favorite series of content, because you get to see things here that you just can't see anywhere else, and get to learn why the business impact is driving the need for a solution like this or any solution. And today was no different. So, Troy, thanks for stopping by, audience. Thanks for tuning into another episode, and we'll see you on the next. You can find more of our independent content at talentedlearning.com, and you can check out Course Container, including the pricing, at coursecontainer.com. Have a great day.